going on, everybody? Welcome to the Filsinger Games Character Spotlight with Mike and Brock.
I'm Mike.
I'm Brock, and for 2 weeks in a row, we're joined by Jeff Manning, whoever that is.
Sometimes, Jeff.
Tonight, we're going to continue through Classics 2074 with Rookie Commander Sam. Get into focus there, Sam. And Dorado Sundown, Blacklash, and Bullwhip.
Well, we'll start the ball rolling with Commander Sam.
Here he is.
Rookie Commander Sam.
Very important character, and he did not age well. In a matter of, 13 years? He became very bald and very
lost
old.
all his hair.
Dealing with those Cygnus people.
It was those aliens.
Yeah, they really took their toll on him.
It's like the Obi-Wan Kenobi effect. He went from,
That's one of my favorite things, though, is because all the rest of these guys seem to age somewhat naturally, but man, and some of them are around forever. But Commander Sam really took a turn from 2074 to 2087.
It's Earthlings, man.
You think Sam just lived a hard life? Like he was
big
fan of JD and tacos.
He was a war hero. He's seen a lot.
After the war, he saw some stuff and went, I'm doing I'm just doing a lot of drinking.
Commander Sam.
All right. You want
Here we
to get
go.
into the bio?
The dramatic reading of the bio by Jeff Manning.
All right. Commander Sam. Main feud was Torpor in 2074. Finisher was the Star Spangled Banner. When Sam has his opponent just about finished off, he raises his arm like he's holding a flag. Then he runs towards his opponent with a devastating elbow forearm that often ends the match. His background. Here's Commander Sam, the angry young man of the GWF. So he's not just young, he's angry. Like many of the early marginal GWF stars, Sam is a military fighter turned wrestler. It was a natural progression. With the end of the Galactic Wars, many fighters with an angry grudge entered the GWF to get revenge against their enemies, or to just blow off some steam. Most of these fighters did not last long because, while competitive and tough, they lacked the necessary skills to win in the GWF. Not so with Sam. Though he didn't become a star overnight, Sam already showed potential in his first year in the GWF. He showed so much potential, in fact, that Omega became his unofficial mentor, as Cosmos would become a few years later. In 2074, Sam faced the first of many feuds against fighters from the Cygnus star system. Sometimes Sam would team up with the Guardians in three-man tag matches against Dorado Sundown and Torpor. Commander Sam's trademark toughness and bad temper were already evident in 2074, and his feud with Torpor was an example of passion over wrestling skill. Already in his 20s, Sam learned the wrestling trade very quickly in 2074, and in a few years was one of the best wrestlers in the GWF. So, I mean, at oldest in 2087, he's 42, because he's still in his 20s.
Yeah.
29 is as old as you can go. So in 2087 at 42, I mean, I'm older than 42. I just want to put that into perspective.
I hit 42 this month, so.
So we're doing pretty good. We're not Commander Sam yet.
I feel like it sometimes.
Yeah. He took a few more bumps.
Yeah, he did. He did.
So fun fact, Commander Sam had my first singles victory in my GWF Fed over Torpor with a cross body block. How classic is that? I feel like there used to be WWF videos that every match ended in a cross body block. I remember counting one time, and I'm pretty sure one of those videos on Coliseum Video had like 4 or 5 matches end with a cross body block. Either a cross body block or a cross body block reversal, where they rolled them. That was pretty common in the 80s.
It was.
So in 2074, Commander Sam got the first ever singles victory with a cross body block over Torpor. Gotta love it.
Add that to your Jeff Manning trivia note card.
We're just filled with it. I mean, hopefully you viewed the last episode and you will be up to date on both the cross currents, Vortex specifically, and Torpor, because I had lots of trivia in there too. You'll know my Fed better than I'll remember it.
Yeah, it's I never, like I said, I think I played with this Sam card just to test it out, but he never had any actual Fed experience with me. I think I probably had a couple matches against Torpor just to play with the card because I knew I was never going to use it.
Mm.
Did you? The real question I want to know is, did Commander Sam ever face Blizzard then?
No, no,
Because I know
no.
Torpor feuded with Blizzard. Let's see where he stood on it.
No, like I said, out of this original set, this Commander Sam card is the only one I never used. Well, sorry, Omega and Morpheus I didn't use either because they had our. The reason I didn't use them is because I had already introduced them in my Fed.
Yeah, because you played him. You were playing this set from 2099 to 2105. So, I had him. He had in the Galaxian title tournament. He drew KO Keller. They put on a 4-star match, which was the highest match at that time that I had. And he lost via 10 count, which was KO Keller's finisher at the time. He did put 5 tokens on fatigue on KO Keller, and he only had 2 tokens on himself, but still got the loss. So he made a good debut or good showing in the title tournament on the second card of my Fed. Really, really. I mean, you knew with him, you knew his trajectory in the Fed, so I really wanted to push him well, even though he was young. He didn't really do well in singles with this card. He did, however, I believe it was with this card, catch up his first tag title with KO Keller. I actually called them the Knockout Stars. And they won the titles in August of 2075, which I believe was still this card. I don't know when the second card came into play because I don't have that book in front of me.
79.
Well, was that when it was introduced, though, according to the early classics? I don't remember what the book said when that card started to come into use.
Yeah, I don't know.
If that card didn't come into use 2079, he actually had 2 tag title runs with the Knockout Stars, him and KO Keller. Once beating the Menzens and losing it to Dorado Sundown. That was only a 2-month reign. And then once again, defeating the Guardians, actually, and then losing it to Paladin Power after about, I'd say, a 4-month reign. So they were important, and even this card was important. He teamed up with KO Keller well and made a solid tag team when I didn't have a lot of tag teams at that time. He still competed in singles, of course, especially against guys like Torpor, but I needed that tag team. And I thought that was a cool name. It's one of my favorite names I ever came up with for a tag team that wasn't official. The Knockout Stars.
Look at you not following the rules.
I know. I'm such a rebel. I'm about ready to write my own bootleg Fed.
There you go.
No, but it's a fun card, and I like that he was angry. He was kind of he was the young and tempered youth that sometimes get DQ'd and would have issues, and Omega really had to calm him down and bring him back down to reality about what was important and whatnot. I always thought of him as being one of the first, like, willing to go hardcore, bloodier kind of styles and feuding with some of the POW guys and stuff like that.
Yeah, I could see that's how I might have used them. Because that's how you'd have Commander Sam. He'd be that wannabe tough guy that works.
Card number 5, he lost his first chance to get a title shot because he did a Sam's Atomic Drop onto the guardrail with Morpheus, which gave Morpheus the opportunity to fight for the title.
We talk about it
in a revenge match, and then Morpheus got a shot at the title.
We talk about this outfit. We've got a T-shirt tucked into trunks with a belt with a cape.
I like it.
It's pretty good.
I mean, it's good artwork. I don't mind it. And I know we talked last episode about the full body in some of these cards.
Mm-hmm.
Most of his body is visible. I mean, yeah, I kind of like that approach. I mean, I know Bendis gets a lot of negative reviews.
Deliberate for the classic sets.
I really like that
to try and differentiate it a little bit, maybe.
And it looks like he's got ankle boots, like the little ankle boots, because you see part of his calf and you don't see the high boot.
No, maybe he's barefoot. I wouldn't be surprised if he was barefoot with the rest of the
I can't see him being barefoot, but he'd have those little wee, like almost amateur wrestling boots.
So I challenge somebody at Galacticon 2025 to cosplay as 2074 Commander Sam.
I do not challenge you.
Michael
But, I mean,
Bratta.
so I'm guessing that Brock did not use this card.
No, we've already talked about this.
Yeah.
I know,
It
but
wasn't-
we just like get to hear it going, I didn't use it.
I didn't play
But
classics at all.
But that doesn't mean you didn't use the card. You could use it. I mean, Mike didn't play classics either.
That's true. But I had other Commander Sam cards to use.
So did he.
But now that I'm looking at this outfit, I don't think he's wearing tights underneath. I think those are bare legs. It looks like bare
those
legs.
are bare legs.
He's a powerful man. Let's show off his he doesn't skip leg day.
Yep. Somebody cosplay this at Galacticon.
Please don't. I think we're more likely to get 2087 Commander Sam in cosplay.
I'm well on my way to 2087 Commander Sam just by showing up.
Which the 2087 Commander Sam kind of looked to me as a like a Hulk Hogan ripoff at the time when I first bought the set.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Big Superstar in the classics, and I was like, never mind.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. Let's go back to 2074. I liked this card, but I think part of that was he had an advantage over certain other characters because you knew where he was going.
Yeah, you would actually push him because you know he's hanging around.
Yeah.
Two guys that did not hang around were Blacklash and Bullwhip. Bullwhip has tiny little hands.
But also very important, and they're on a very short list of guys. They are on a very short list of guys that were around briefly but made a big impact. I mean, anybody who played early classics knows Bullwhip and Blacklash. I mean, they were important. Also, when they went colorized, some of the most feedback came to theirs. If you remember, I think they had different color, like, what do they call those, kerchiefs?
I've never seen the color.
Yeah, Blacklash was wearing red and Bullwhip was wearing blue.
Whoa!
So, but I mean, that's kind of a big deal when you think about they were a tag team trying to take over the GWF together. They weren't even unified in colors. That's just not something you see. I guess that was to offset the fact that they also wrestled singles. They showed them as individuals. But I mean, when that dropped in color, I was like, what? They don't even match.
That's nitpicking.
We will never be friends in similar tights. Shout out to Fist.
Fist for life.
I never really liked the Blacklash artwork. I felt like it was almost too close. Like he wasn't sure about being far away or up close. And he was kind of too close. I thought Bullwhip was a lot cooler, but he also was stockier. Kind of, I don't know. But Blacklash, I think, did better in my Fed.
I like the Blacklash art better.
It's different. I don't know what it is about it.
I like it better.
I can't get over his tiny hands.
They both have tiny hands.
But he's a lot bigger, though.
Yeah. Well, it's all perception, Brock. He's just the shot's further away.
I don't know.
I like how he was kind of iffy about a tattoo, too. It's like, do I get the the horse brand on my arm or not? Kind of do.
He could have just gotten kicked by a horse right before they took his photo.
It's true. Could have. I guess I never thought of that.
Yeah.
I guess I should get into the bio before we get into their.
That's true. Sorry.
That's a long bio.
Before
folks.
Before we were on, Mike wanted me to not read the whole bio, and I said, nay, I shall read the whole bio. I'll tell you what I will do, though. I will skip the finishers if you like. Would you like that?
Okay.
It's up to you.
Read them.
I'm sometimes Jeff. You're always Mike. Blacklash and Bullwhip. Wait, now you guys are split. Do you want them read or not? Brock just confused me. Read one.
Read one.
That's not how it works. I'm going to read it. Forget Mike. It's Canadian. His vote doesn't count. Main feuds are the Guardians and the Cross Currents. Tag team's name is Dorado Sundown. Finishers. Blacklash and Bullwhip use a tag finisher called Rustler Stampede. When their opponent is down in the middle of the ring, Blacklash and Bullwhip both climb on top of opposite turnbuckles and jump down feet first on their opponent. Jesus. No wonder it's called a stampede. It's rough and painful. Blacklash has also mastered another finisher, Sundown, which is a deadly falling head rammer that he uses in single matches. Bullwhip likes to finish his opponents with his 12 o'clock high finisher. He places his opponent in a sitting position on the turnbuckle and then executes a devastating slam to the mat. Background. Here come two tough hombres. No sooner did Omega and Morpheus announce the formation of the GWF in 2074 than Blacklash and Bullwhip stomped Demos to sign their first match. From the start, they've made their intentions clear to take over the GWF and give Omega and Morpheus the big boot. How audacious. Blacklash and Bullwhip are from the Dorado star system. Yes, promoter, there really is a Dorado star system where the inhabitants are the originators of what we would like to call a Western style. Inhabitants from Dorado, brawlers and troublemakers have traveled throughout the star system for millions of years, secretly landing on planets where they can blend in and spread their style throughout the universe. One planet with the Doradians, am I saying that right? Doradians?
Yeah.
And infiltrated was Earth in the first stages of the Wild West era. In fact, rumor has it that Jesse James himself was actually an alien from Dorado.
It's
But
true.
this is mere speculation, Brock. Mere speculation.
It's true.
It states
It
in the
is
book.
because I did that 23andMe, and we, the whole the
So
ancestry, the ancestry. Sorry, we did the ancestry.ca.
And you're a Doradian?
Jesse James is actually a cousin of mine.
So you're an alien.
You're an alien.
All right. While both men are rough and rugged brawlers, Blacklash is the one with impressive wrestling skills to boot. Bullwhip is a brawler and he's as tough as nails. With the GWF in its infancy, Blacklash and Bullwhip are trying to seize their chance to take over the Federation before anyone knows what hit it. It might have worked against lesser men, but Omega and Morpheus, with the hindsight that is perfect since we know the future of the GWF, were more than up to the challenge. And rather than foolishly divide their forces, Omega and Morpheus immediately recognized that all their hopes for the GWF would be swiftly crushed if Dorado Sundown were able to take control. Though neither Omega and Morpheus particularly enjoyed tag team wrestling and didn't go out of their way to be ranked or win the tag belts, the Guardians still rank as perhaps the greatest tag team in GWF history. Dorado Sundown's legacy will always be that they were the only team that could bring Omega and Morpheus together. Though Blacklash and Bullwhip were a great tag team and great singles wrestlers, they left the GWF in 2076, frustrated that they could not surpass Omega and Morpheus. They joined a smaller wrestling federation in Alpha Centauri and were active until 2093. So they had a good bio. Good bio. I like it. I don't care if you wanted me to read it, Mike. It was a fantastic bio.
Yep. I learned a lot.
I forgot they mentioned Jesse James. Here we are. Now I know Mike's an alien, which makes sense because he's Canadian, so it's pretty much alien anyway.
But it said it's speculation that he's an alien. I'm saying he's not.
Doradian.
Jesse James himself.
So, fun fact for those of you keeping track on the Jeff GWF Fed. First card, they were in the main event against the Guardians. They were DQ'd in the very first event. Bullwhip threw Morpheus into a steel post. Then Dorado, as the team, attacked Omega and grabbed the mic and said, "When we take over this joint, you'll really pay for that." And hit the ref, hit Omega, hit Morpheus again. It was like all-out attack at the end of the first show.
They deserved it.
Now, come back to the next card, and Blacklash made it to the finals in the championship tournament. I don't know what happened. Bullwhip beat Solar Flare and then lost to Omega in the second round, and then the fourth championship round, Omega beat Blacklash. So he knocked out both of them during the tournament.
Wow.
Bullwhip lost via Tomahawk Thrust at 12 minutes and 9 seconds. And Blacklash lost using Tomahawk Thrust. Now remember, this is the end of the night. This is 4 rounds into a one-night tournament, so he lost in 7 minutes and 45 seconds in the championship. Same thing, though, Tomahawk Thrust.
And that first Omega card was busted, so.
Yeah, so.
He had a really rapid decline, too. Omega.
That's all the steroids caught up with him.
He did. They also lost in the semifinals of the tag tournament, actually, to Moonstrike and Solar Flare, so Paladin Power. But that was a 27-minute, 24-second match.
Wow.
They lost in the semifinals to them. I'd like to think that they wore down Paladin Power. Well, that's why they lost to the men's in my tag title tournament. That's how it looks like it played out.
So for me, these guys are still going on in my GWF.
How are they still? They're only supposed to be there for 2 years, Mike. 2 years. You're
They were active
overusing
till
them.
2093, though.
Yep.
Yeah, in a different
They
freaking
shoulda-
star
they shoulda
system,
came
Alpha
back.
Centauri.
They
shoulda
came
came back.
in
No,
in
no, no.
20.
Let's not. Typically, I agree with you. People should come back, but that's been done so many times on the GWF. I don't want anybody back. Let's just move on. I think we should just move on to characters now.
They came in 2098 for me. In my UWA, quickly captured the tag titles and then went straight up to the GWF, where they are 3-time GWF Tag Team Champions.
Mm.
And currently, they are part of the Citadel of Elite. Thantos brought them in, and because Superiority Complex couldn't get the big win, so Thantos brought in the Dorado Sundown. They beat the crap out of Superiority Complex, and that's who they're feuding right now. And I did have Bullwhip capture my GWF TV title, because he does have a solid card as well.
Mm-hmm.
Both these guys are good tag team. I know how I work it is Bullwhip starts off, and then Blacklash comes in for level 2, and then level 3s it's kind of split. Usually I get a couple quick pins with Bullwhip, and then Blacklash will try to come in for the +3 tag after they, you bump up the tag, get a couple quick pins, then try to hit the +3. But yeah, they both got A rings.
Yeah.
But Blacklash is probably the better wrestler because he's got 3 A's and a B.
Mm-hmm.
Bullwhip's got 2 C's and an A and a B.
So in my Fed, they only held the title once, but I will say Blacklash has the distinguished honor of being the very first person to hold both the tag title and the Galaxian title at the same time.
Wow.
Dorado Sundown won the tag titles against the Knockout Stars in October of 2075, held them for about 6 months, eventually losing them to the Guardians, who finally had enough of them and teamed up to take the titles from them to stop them from taking over the GWF. Blacklash won the title the month after they won the tag titles. He won the single title from Screw, but then Screw actually was the one to capture it back about 4 months later.
What's the Raw rating on these guys,
Bullwhip is 35 in singles, 41 in tag, and Blacklash is 39 in singles, 50 in tag.
So yeah, they're both pretty solid then, eh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're both, especially for this time period, they were both really good.
Even,
So actually,
even this time period, they're doing pretty good.
Yeah, they can hold on. They'd hold out still in this one.
so I guess what happened in my Fed, this has been years since I've played this. What actually happened for Blacklash to win the title was he actually won a title tournament. What happened was the card before in November of 2075. This was during my POW was trying to take over, so Jammer and Blood from Defiance were teaming with Jack Hood and took on Rick and Prince, Torrin Calum, and Screw. And Screw was the champion at the time, trying to protect the Federation, who I believe Omega and Morpheus were already injured by Jack Hood. Jack Hood did a lot of damage to my Fed for a while. Screw got hurt for 6 cards, so he couldn't defend. He was out for 6 months. So Blacklash won the title tournament to claim a new championship since he couldn't defend the title. And then when Screw came back, he won it when he came back from him. So it's been forever since I played it, like I said. So I just had to go back and read that.
I like that the fact that Blacklash has repeated slaps to the face, like he just grabs you and bitch slaps you constantly during the match.
Yeah,
It's got the you're just gonna stand there and bleed.
But overall, these guys are a great tag team.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because when I brought them in, originally they were managed by the Cowboy, which was one of Dave Schaefer's characters from his SWA set. And then my following year, because I know how my year goes, they're leaving the Citadel, and they're teaming up with Brock's character, your cowboy there,
Billy the Kid.
Louis the Kid.
Nice.
So I'm looking back at my notes here from the final card Dorado Sundown was in. They decided to do a best 2 out of 3 falls against the Guardians, and the loser had to leave the Federation. And they actually won the first bout, but then they lost the next 2 and had to leave the Federation, and that would have been in March of 2076.
Wow.
So the Guardians ran them off officially.
Hey, and that's what was written before it even happened.
And I'm sure I did not finagle the dice rolls. I would have wrote a different story had it happened differently, but somehow they managed to play it out perfectly.
They don't do that often whenever you're trying to make something happen.
They don't. A lot of times you have to run a audible and figure some other way for it to go, but I don't alter my results, though. If something happens, it happens. I'll just figure out a different angle to make it to the storyline.
What's the worst is when you get a champ that you hate being a champ and they just won't lose.
Yeah, he keeps hanging on.
I did have
Wolf gets a title. I'm like, son of a bitch, you better lose it.
They never won any of my year-end awards, though. Like I said, it was just the one reign from Blacklash for singles, and then the one reign for Dorado Sundown from tag. So, but they were important. Like I said, the GWF in the early days was really threatened between the POW invasion I had, and when they were being sidetracked with that, having Dorado Sundown involved, trying to so basically the GWF was on attack from both sides. Both internally with Dorado Sundown, who had an agreement to appear in GWF, and the POW, who was not supposed to be there. Defiance had an agreement to be there, but Jack Hood was kind of managing them and helping them injure people. So,
what a jerk Jack Hood turned out to be.
I mean, he was deadly. He injured all my top stars. Like, I'm serious. It was, I believe the way it played out, and I'm not going back to my notes for this one. I believe the way it played out, Jack Hood had injured Morpheus, Omega, and Screw.
Wow.
And it had to be Torrin Calum that stepped up and took out Jack Hood. And then became kind of the hero of my Fed at one point.
It's cool.
So it was a big moment in my Fed. I remember that's one I don't really have to check the notes. I remember how it played out. But yeah, Dorado Sundown was very important for a very short time, and really good cards. Like, they were one of those that were just there as a flash in the pan.
Those cards are solid.
They could hold their own.
Well, since we're talking about Dorado Sundown, let's make our best our Mount Rushmore, our favorite westerns.
Yeah, there we go. Now I'm going to make some Western fans angry, though, because I don't watch a lot of old Westerns. I watch the newer Westerns.
Yeah.
That's me, too.
I am a big fan of Westerns, and I've watched a ton of them. Like, I just finished watching Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid a little while
I just watched that last month. I watch it every year at least once.
It's such a cool flick.
The first 10 to 15 minutes of that movie is fantastic. I mean, the rest of the movie is good, but the first 10 or 15 get you hooked. Like the whole, introducing the characters, and then the first interaction at the hole in the wall. But anyway, we'll get into that when we're talking about our Mount Rushmore.
Who wants to start off? Well, Brock is still looking up his westerns.
I'll go if you don't want to.
Okay.
My number one movie all time, not just number one Western, my number one movie all time, Tombstone. I love it. Always loved it. Watch it every year, usually multiple times a year. If I ever see it on TV, it's when I stop at. Quote it all the time. Love the Doc Holliday character. Love the Johnny Ringo character. So Tombstone's my number one movie all time, not just Western, but period. As far as Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid would be on my list, I watch that every year. I believe, and I may be misquoting, but he'll never see this. So I think it was my dad's favorite movie, and we watched it a lot growing up. I know we watched it a lot growing up. The favorite part, I'm not sure, but I still watch it to this day. Love it. Like I said, some of the best 10 to 15 minutes ever, and the whole movie's solid. I know it's a little bit harder as you get older to watch it, just because the chase scene lasts a long time. Who are those guys? But overall, amazing movie. I didn't watch a lot of John Wayne or anything like that, or Clint Eastwood movies. So my other favorite Westerns are probably Maverick, just because the Mel Gibson.
I just watched that last month.
Card playing one, I really enjoyed that. And the other one I watched probably most frequently is probably The Quick and the Dead, which I'm told has the most quick draws of any Western ever.
That's with Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman, Russell Crowe's in that one.
And Sharon Stone.
Yeah, so and it's got younger Leonardo DiCaprio too.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie if you haven't seen it. I enjoy that one. I mean, my honorable mention, I guess, would probably be The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, just because I have seen it. I also liked. I remember watching McClintock when I was younger, but I never really got into the older westerns, the John Waynes and the Clint Eastwoods. I mean, Unforgiven, I've seen quite a bit, but that's a newer one that was in the early '90s. So those would be my top four: Tombstone, Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, Maverick, and Quick and the Dead.
So I'll go next. On my list, Tombstone.
Yes.
It's a great mix, especially I'll be your Huckleberry.
Yeah.
It is great. I'm gonna have to go with Bone Tomahawk. Now it's a horror cowboy western. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it stars Kurt Russell. It's probably, I think it came out about six years ago.
2015, 9 years ago.
Okay, and it's got one of the. If you've ever seen the movie, when I say it's got one of the goriest death scenes in it, and the actor who gets murdered, top notch. Like that gave me chills. My number three would be 3:10 to Yuma.
I've seen that many times.
I just thought it was a neat move and just a neat premise where the guy who's being captured goes along to help the guy get captured so he can get some money for his family. I'm like, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, that ending though didn't sit well with me. I don't know. Something about it, like I just couldn't buy into that ending. Even if he wanted the guy to get money, it seemed an odd way to end it.
Yeah, I suppose so.
It's not a bad movie. I've seen it, but Christian Bale.
Yeah, and then I'm going to have to go with Blazing Saddles.
that was probably going to make its way onto my list.
A black sheriff? Yeah, I'm not going to quote any more Blazing Saddles because I quoted Robin Hood Men in Tights who said, "A black sheriff? It worked in Blazing Saddles."
And then I would say probably I'm going to do honorable mention, but it's probably my all-time favorite Western, and it's a movie I've seen. I have the original. To be Magnificent Seven. So I have the original, the Akira Kurosawa version, the Seven Samurai, and then they transferred it, made it a Western, and I've even seen the newer version.
I tried to watch the newer version. I couldn't get into it.
I watched it, but it's not as good as I'm a big fan of the Yul Brynner version.
Steve McQueen was in that, I think.
Yeah, Yul Brynner, Steve McQueen,
Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
James Coburn, who's in
Maverick,
by the way.
Coburn,
yeah.
So those are my favorite Westerns.
Nice.
All right, I'm not a big Westerns fan, so I'm gonna go Django Unchained. It's probably my favorite.
Very memeable.
Very memeable. Okay. Okay. I like the El Mariachi trilogy. My favorite one was probably Once Upon a Time in Mexico, the third one.
Good.
Yeah, I'm thinking that could be a Western, but it's a more modern Western, like.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. I'll go with Young Guns because of the Bon Jovi soundtrack.
Shot down in a blaze of glory.
What are you? I'm a pugilist. What's a pugilist?
That is good. I did learn what a pugilist was, and it also, it was sampled for Regulators. Regulators,
yeah,
mount up.
Let's see. I don't know. I'm having a hard time with this one. Mask of Zorro.
That doesn't count, does it?
Oh, the Three Amigos.
There you go. Three Amigos. The Disney version.
I thought about Django, but Django went about a half hour too long for me.
It did have about an hour in the middle that you could have cut out and told the same story.
I think that is a half hour at the end.
Well,
the rest of it was pretty good, but then it just carried and carried and carried. And I'm like, ugh.
Hmm.
There's a few good comedy westerns, like A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
That's surprisingly funny.
I thought about
Cowboys and Aliens I actually liked.
I thought about True Grit too.
Yeah. Now, I haven't seen the new one. I'm more familiar with the John Wayne version.
Yeah, there was a movie in the early 2000s called Open Range that had Kevin Costner in it. I thought was really good.
Have you seen The Ballad of Buster Scruggs or Scruggs?
No.
It's not too bad. It's a bunch of short stories put in a western, and it gets pretty dark at times, but they're all pretty good. And they had another one I've just watched recently, The Hateful Eight.
Yeah. I feel like Brockster has to stop talking about westerns. I'd like to hear an alternate timeline where Dorado Sundown actually won. And
Yeah.
Is there any GWF characters you think would have made a good Western character?
Shane.
I knew you were going to say Shane. He has a cactus in the background of his picture, so.
Shane. I can't. Every time somebody says that name in the game, or they even talk about Shane, that's all I hear is that woman screaming, Shane. For those of you who don't know, there's a Western called Shane.
There you go. It's fate.
That's a perfect guy. Shane.
Shane.
That gruff Commander Sam could be a Western.
He could.
Maybe you could actually play out your Cowboys versus Aliens.
You absolutely could do that.
Oh, easy.
But the Cowboys are aliens.
Yeah. That makes it even tougher.
Even Jesse James.
Yeah. I didn't remember that from the book, so
it's there.
I know.
In blue and white.
Well, I knew they were aliens. That I knew. But I didn't realize they were a million-year-old alien civilization that haven't advanced past Westerns.
There was a made-for-TV movie that I really liked. Those was called Purgatory. That was they stumbled into this like I don't know, like a vortex type thing where they ended up being in purgatory. That was for old dead Western people that were trying to live life clean for like a decade, and if they did, they got to go to heaven.
There you go.
It was actually pretty good. It had Eric Roberts as the bad guy, but then it had like Sam Shepard was the main good guy, and it had like Donnie Wahlberg. Who's the crazy guy from Christmas Vacation?
Oh, the worst Christmas movie ever, That Christmas Vacation?
Oh, you stop it. We're not talking about that. What's his
Overrated.
name?
Highly.
Yeah, you're overrated. Randy Quaid. He's in the movie too.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty good movie. It was made for TV. I remember watching it because it was back when TNT made movies and they were on like around Nitro or something. But yeah, I actually have that movie. I own it. It's on my Fandango at home, and I watch that about once a year, maybe once every year and a half or so.
I'm surprised nobody said Rango.
I thought about it.
I've watched it with the kids many a time, but it's not on my tops.
I've only seen about 20 minutes of it. I haven't got through it yet, so I couldn't.
I never liked it till my youngest kid came around, and he really enjoyed it, and he makes me laugh because he would. I think one of the first things I remember him talking was the whole scene where Rango's like doing an acting scene by himself, and he was like saying it word for word.
What about Back to the Future 3?
And it should have never happened.
I'm just saying it's a Western.
It counts as a Western. I mean, Marty even went by Clint Eastwood. Yeah, no. That was a money grab.
Dances with Wolves?
Anybody? That's a good one.
I never liked it. Maybe I could go back and watch it as an adult, but when I was younger when it came out, I just didn't care for it.
I just watched that recently. It's pretty good.
But I'm surprised other than Jeff, none of us had any Clint Eastwood movies.
How about Shanghai Noon?
Oh.
That was a fun movie.
Or The Revenant. That was a good movie. It was a Western.
Gran Torino is my favorite Clint Eastwood movie.
Trouble with the Curve. I like
Okay.
Trouble with the Curve. It's one of my favorite baseball movies. It's up there.
Let's wrap this up.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you haven't yet done so, please click that subscribe button. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. While you're here, scroll down to the description. You'll find our friends who make Filsinger Games related content, including the official Filsinger Games podcast roll up, the Legends team's Uncharted Territory, Dizzy Dice from Lee Lomprey, Solo Promoter from Grant Pachoco. Grant's also here on YouTube. You'll see his link below. Brad Plays 81. They do a lot of live wrestling discussion as well as gameplay. There's Bucky 749 After Further Review, and Dave Little's Heartland Championship Wrestling. I'll check all that out. I have another Skinathon coming up Friday,
Skinathon.
October 11th. Mark your calendars. It's actually this week because we're recording in the future. So all kinds of card giveaways on that. So stay tuned or check that out. You don't have to pay to play or participate to try and win the cards. Just come on into the chat and play some games with us, and we'll have a good time. Until next week, guys, that's all I've got.
Good night, everyone.
Later.
See you at high noon.